there's quite a few more that are supposed to be joining us, so I'm sure they'll be popping in any moment. But we're going to go ahead and get started. They're like little puppies running around. Okay, so go ahead and get your Pilates ball if you have one, and if not, you can use those kind of couch pillows, something a little bit firm. And if you don't have that, but you do have a block, that's an option too. We're going to be placing it underneath your sacrum, so on your tailbone, and you'll be laying down on your back. So find that position first. Let's take a few moments here to ground. Arrive in this space. So go ahead and allow your arms to lay alongside your body with the palms up. Either a soft gaze or you can close your eyes. And start to tune in to your breath. Start to notice the breath first. For those of you just arriving, you're either putting your Pilates ball, a block, or a couple of couch pillows underneath your sacrum, your tailbone. So anytime you bring your body into this position where the hips are higher than the heart, you are telling the body to move into a parasympathetic state. So that parasympathetic state is that recovery state, that rest, recover state. You'll probably hear me say this every single time we gather, but most of us don't spend enough time in this space, enough time recovering. We go, go, go. We want to accomplish more. But we don't allow ourselves to slow down and recover. So good for you guys for giving yourself this opportunity. This is a great way. So if you're stressed out in the middle of your day, this is an option. The other option I'm just going to demonstrate is to bring your feet up. Now if you're on a ball, that requires a little bit more stability, but you could put your feet up on a wall. So if you're balancing on a ball, be careful. So legs up the wall is really a great option. So you can do this anytime you're feeling stressed out. So there should be no effort if you're lifting your legs up, no effort at all. So if you're having to effort, I recommend just leaving the feet on the floor. And then once again, tuning in to your breath. And see if you can lengthen out your breath. So not just into the lower region of your belly, but wide into your rib cage. So all the way around, breathing fully and expansively in all directions, like 360 degrees, breathing deeply. So we'll take 5 more of these breaths. And see if you can even lengthen out the exhale. So maybe it's a 3 or 4 count breath in. You might pause at the top. And then maybe it's a 5 or even a 6 count to exhale. And maybe a pause at the bottom of the breath as well. 3 more of those breaths. And then once you've taken your 3rd breath, you start to lift your hips up, remove the ball. You might draw your knees into your chest for a moment, maybe rock side to side, massaging the low spine just a tad. Then we're going to bring your ball, or again your couch pillows, not a block for this one, onto your belly. So you're going to be placing it right in the middle of your belly, and then you'll be laying down. So if your ball is really, really full, this could be really uncomfortable, so you might let a little bit of air out, or you might just adjust it a little bit up or down. But once you have yourself sort of situated, just relax your forehead down onto the backs of your hands, or perhaps a block or pillow. And then coming back to some of those deep breaths. So breathe into the belly. You'll feel your belly press against the ball. Breathe into the ribs. And then as you exhale, you'll feel the ball melt into your body. And then pause with the breath out. Once again, the belly is another source for telling yourself, telling your body, your mind, to come into that parasympathetic state. Most of you have heard me say this before, but the majority of your lymph also lives in your belly region, in your gut. And the lymph system, of course, is the system that fights off disease. So keeping this system healthy is super important. So you can play with this. You could come onto your elbows. That might be more comfortable. You could rock your hips side to side, doing a little cross fiber work on the belly region. Now also inside of here is the top end of your hip flexors. Most of us think your hip flexor just connects your thigh to your hip bone. Actually, it goes all the way up here into your belly, all the way up where it connects into your spine, way up by your rib cage. So you're actually affecting your hip flexors by doing some myofascial work on your belly. Now you could also do some circles. So I'm tucking my toes under, and then I'm making some circles, and going one way and then the other way. And it's really slow. Or I might just simply stay and breathe. And we'll take 3 more breaths, either moving or being still. Just a couple more deep inhales and long exhales. And then you'll slowly start to make your way off of the ball. You can just set it off to the side. And then bringing your elbows just slightly in front of your shoulders. Now, we're not thinking of doing a back bend per se. We're thinking of lengthening the heart forward. So I'm bringing my elbows to my mat, and I'm almost like I'm dragging my body forward. So I'm stretching the front part of my body. I might also feel some in my lower back, but no pinching. I'm lengthening the heart forward, so I might even feel a stretch in that lower belly region. I might feel a stretch in my chest area, and I might feel some in my low back. Now, keep the right elbow down, or right forearm down, and start to press into the left hand. So we get more of the left oblique. If that causes any pain in the low back, back it off. You can always come down lower. We're pressing away and to the right. Take a big breath. And release down. And then we'll do the other side. So the left forearm stays down. And then pressing into the right side and leaning off to the left. And stretching more of my right oblique. Take a couple of deep, deep breaths. And then release back down. And then tucking back into a child's pose. Stretching the back just a bit in the child's pose, or whatever version works for you. If your knees don't like all the way back, that's okay. Rounding out the spine just a little bit. Moving the body in that opposite direction. Okay. So go ahead and find your yoga tune-up balls or your tennis balls inside of your sock or your toes. We're going to be releasing the front part of your right thigh. So we're going to start right above the knee. So make sure your balls are tucked away in your toe and it's locked down so that balls don't go flying, or your sock. Now if you just have a single ball, you'll use the single ball similarly. You might want to consider getting the double ball in a toad or inside of a sock at some point. It just makes it a little bit, you don't need to balance the ball on your body quite so much when you do this. So it goes right above the knee on your right side. So we'll start with the right side. On your belly. And then we'll go ahead and just do some short range of motion movement. So I'm right above my knee and I'm moving up and down, maybe 3 or 4 inches. Now I'm using my left leg and my arms to kind of pull me back and forth. Short range of motion. So I'm almost doing a bit of a plank. Now be careful with your lower back, guys. So pull the tummy in. So you don't want to come into a big sway back and hurt your back. And then pressing with my left knee, left foot. I can show you here. So just a short range of motion right above the knee. And then go ahead and relax, lay all the way down, and then you'll start to bend and straighten the right leg. the right leg and start to rock it side to side so the leg is straight. And then your leg moves right to left, side to side, doing some cross fiber work. And then start to make your way up. So the ball or balls will be in the middle of your thigh. And then we'll do again some of the short range of motion. So again, I'm using my left knee and or foot and my forearms on the ground. Just roll myself forwards and backwards a little bit. Checking in so I don't hurt my low back. I'm going to pull my tummy muscles in a little bit. So it's almost like I'm doing a little bit of a plank when I'm doing this. And then go ahead and release your body all the way back down. Relax. And we bend and straighten the leg. And then straighten. And re-extend your right leg, and once again, rock the leg side to side, just doing a little bit of cross fiber work. And checking back in with your breath. Deep inhales, long exhales. And then we'll inch our way up again. So you're going to be way up high on the very top part of your thigh now. So pretty high here. And then again, so you're going to be way up high. So not quite touching my hip, but a couple of 2-3 inches below that. And then again, some of the short range of motion, hitting more of what most of us think of as the connection point of our hip flexor, all the way up towards that upper quad into where the hip flexors are. And once you get up here, you might lean a little to the right, so you're getting more of what we call the TFL, tensor fascial lata. So that is a little higher and a little to the outside, so the lateral part of that quad and hip area. So lean a little right as I do this, more on my right elbow. You can also lay just flat, checking in with your core muscles again, just really taking care of your back. And then once again, a little bend and straighten, and a bend and straighten, and some cross fiber work. The leg goes side to side. And then we're going to iron all of that out, so we'll roll all the way up and down the leg. So from the knee, all the way up, from the knee, all the way up the hip. You might lean a little right, a little left, getting a little bit more of the outer part of your quad. You might lean a little to the left and get a little bit more of the inner thigh. You'll probably take your leg a little out to the side to get more of the inner thigh. We're going to spend about another 10 breaths on this leg. So you can, if you aren't sure what I mean, I'm doing the inner part of my thigh right now. So it's more on the inner part of my thigh. And then getting more of the outer part of my thigh, even tapping into the IT band. Maybe again over the whole front of the thigh. And again, maybe towards the inner part of my thigh again. about 3 or 4 more big breaths here. And once you feel like you have completed this leg, set your balls off to the side. We're going to do a little stretch on this leg before we switch to rolling the other side. So if you have a strap or a towel or something like that, you may want to grab that. We're going to be laying down on your right side, assuming everybody rolled out their right leg. So you'll be laying down on your right side. I like to bring my knee of my left leg on top of something supportive. It feels better on my back for me. So a ball, a block, a pillow, maybe something like that. You'll bend your bottom right leg. If you can catch it, you don't need a strap. But if you can't, then go ahead and catch it with a strap. And then you'll continue to keep moving your right knee backwards. So the knee does not need to bend a lot to be effective. If it hurts your knee, then I recommend don't bend it as much. Just keep moving the leg backwards. So keep playing with it until you feel a stretch in your thigh, not your knee and not your back. So it's not intended to be super twisty on the back. If it is, you might want to adjust something. Come out of the twist a little bit. Support yourself with more blocks, more pillows. Maybe have the block or pillows higher underneath your right leg. Now we're going to do this 3 times. You're going to kick into your strap or your hand. A little bit of a contraction of the quads. So kick away. So it's contraction. Exhale, relax. And maybe you're able to come into a deeper stretch then. We'll do that 2 more times. So kick into the hand or the strap. Be careful. Core a little bit tight, keep the integrity of the core, relax. Maybe you're able to stretch a little bit more. We'll do that 1 more time. So it's a contract and release. So kick away and relax. And then just stay right there and breathe. And stay for another 5 breaths. Now, when you're ready to release, be careful. Don't slingshot your leg. Let it relax and release very slowly. Good. And then roll onto your back for a moment. Knees are bent. Bring your knees in towards each other. And take a few big belly breaths. So just in case anything showed up in the low spine, let's clear it out. Okay. And gently rolling out of this, I'm going to release the left thigh with the balls or ball. So once again, we start way down low by the knee, and we will do some short little ranges of motion, maybe 3 to 4 inches. And again, I'm using my left and my right elbows on the ground or forearms on the ground, and my right knee and or foot is also helping move me. eventually I'll release my body down and start to bend and straighten and bend and straighten the leg. I'll do that a few times and then I'll extend it out again and a little rock side to side cross fiber work on the second side. And then I'll come towards the middle of my thigh. And once again, some short range of motion, up and down, about 3 or 4 inches range of motion. Checking in with my tummy muscles, pulling them in just a bit, so I'm protecting my low back. After I do a few of those, I'll relax back down again, bend and straighten the leg. And once again, cross fiber, take the leg side to side with the leg extended. And then I'll come all the way up to the upper part of my thigh and continue this process, some short range of motion. And once again, we're getting close to what we would consider the hip flexor area. Maybe even a little bit on the TFL, which is a little bit more lateral to the outside. I might lean a little bit more to the left, so I'm getting a little bit more of the TFL. Did mention this last week, but when this TFL area way up here, this lateral upper hip and thigh area is tense, it likes to take over when we're attempting to use our portions of our glutes. So oftentimes I'll have my clients do exercises like clamshells or straight-legged leg lifts, and the gluteus medius is what is supposed to be doing the work, but yet somehow this TFL tries to take over. So if we get it kind of relaxed and loosened up, sometimes it will relax enough to let some other things do the work that they're supposed to do. All right, so again, some bend and straighten and some side-to-side movements. And then eventually just ironing out the whole leg. So up and down, lean a little left. You're getting more of the IT band when you lean way over to one side. And then you'll get more of the inner thigh if you lean to the right and let your left knee come out to the side. And everybody's different, so you may need more on the inner part of your thigh. You may need more on the outer part of your thigh. You may need more right smack in the middle. Very intuitive practice. So I'm a guide for you, but of course, you really know what's best for you. So about 5 more big breaths. finishing up this leg. When you feel like you're ready, you'll go ahead and roll over onto your left side, move the balls out of the way. And again, I like to support myself with a block underneath my right thigh. The bottom left leg bends. You'll catch it with your hand or your strap or towel or whatever you have. Just checking in first. You want to feel it in the belly of the muscle, not in the knee joint itself. You might feel it above the knee where the muscles connect into the knee, but not inside the joint. And then we'll do some of that contract and release, but pull the tummy in first. Kick into your hand, contracting the quad. And again, it's like 50 to 70% effort, not 100%. And relax. And we'll do it again. Kick into the hand. Exhale, relax. You might be able to stretch a tiny bit more. And one more time, kick into the hand or the strap. And relax. And we'll stay. Five more breaths. When you're ready, you can very slowly release. And once again, something that will feel good on your back. It might be a child's pose. It might be simply laying on your back, but something that feels restorative to you and your low back, just in case something showed up there. Sometimes it does when you do that stretch for your quad. Couple of deep breaths. You're going to be taking your balls out of their little tote if they're in one. We're going to set ourselves up to release the upper back, but we'll be multitasking and doing a hamstring release at the same time, so you'll still want your strap nearby. So eventually you're going to lay down and place the balls in your upper trapezius area. So you'll lay down with them there. Now for some of you, you'll need to actually place something under your head. If your head is super dangly like this and it's not comfortable on your neck, maybe a little pillow or a thin block. We'll eventually take it away, but for right now, the balls are going to go there. You'll lay down and play with it. So you'll find the position that seems appropriate for you. It might be right next to your spine. It might be a little more lateral. It might be a little higher. It might be a little lower. So kind of play with it. There's no right or wrong on this. I think pretty much everybody has some tension in this area. So place the balls in and around that area. And then go ahead and take your strap and hook your right foot with your strap. in the beginning, right now, we're going to go ahead and flex the toes back towards your shin and keep a tiny bend in your right knee. So you might feel your calf, you might also feel behind the knee, but hopefully some in the belly of the hamstring as well. Now, if you'd like, you can extend your left leg out on the ground also, but only if that feels okay in your lower back. Try to relax your shoulders. I know sometimes gripping onto something creates this sort of tension in the shoulders. Can you relax them down? All right. Now point the toe away from you and see what it feels like now. Maybe you're able to pull the thigh a little closer to your body. Take a breath in. Exhale. And then flex the toes back towards your shin again. You might need to soften the knee a little bit again. And then we'll point the toes one more time. And again, maybe you're able to bring the thigh a tiny bit closer to you. Take a big breath in and a long breath out. All right, relax. Set the strap off to the side. Rebend both knees. Soles of the feet on the earth. Clasp your hands behind your head now. If you have a pillow back there, you'll probably move it out of the way. And then you'll start to just do some gentle up and down movements. So your hips might come off the ground a little bit, or you can leave them on the ground and do, I call this chugging. So my rear end is still basically on the ground and I'm just pressing into my feet and I'm doing a very short range of motion. I might even start to do some side to side twisting. And again, my hips might be up or they might be down. Now, if you cannot take a deep breath, please move the balls to a different location, or maybe you need to take this to the wall. And you'll start to work your way down the spine, only to maybe like the bra line area, and then back up. And these balls can go all the way up to your neck. And you might need to adjust them periodically. They'll walk themselves kind of off the body sometimes. Just lift back up and replace them. Take some deep breaths. This can be pretty intense. So we'll be doing this for about 5 more breaths. So find a location where it seems appropriate to stay. Maybe you just simply stay and breathe. Or maybe you keep moving. We're going to do our second hamstring without the balls. So when you're ready, you can just set those balls off to the side. And we'll hook our left foot and flex the toes back. And then again, option to extend the right leg out if that feels okay in your back. So a little bit of a bend in your left knee. Now soften the shoulders. Again, sometimes when we're gripping onto something, our shoulders kind of pop up and get really tense. Soften them down. Now go ahead and point the toe away from you, toes point away, or at least just soften, and then maybe you're able to come a little closer with your thigh, a little closer to your chest. And if you don't have a strap, grabbing the back of your leg or calf is fine. And then flex the toes again. And again, you might feel a little more in the calf. You might need to soften the knee a little, no problem. And then one more time, toes kind of point away or at least stop flexing them. And then one more time, maybe you move a little bit closer to your chest with your thigh. And gently releasing. Now we're going to return to some release for the upper trapezius, but just with one ball this time. So you'll place the one ball on the upper trap. So it's almost just right on the upper trapezius. So some of you might have been a little lower last time. We're going pretty much the very top of your trapezius on the right side this time. So I'm going to tuck it in there, just enough that it's underneath me. And then I'm going to start to do some snow angels with my right arm. Now you do have the option to lift your hips up and either dynamically hold them up with your own strength, or you could slide a block underneath you. That's going to increase the intensity, so be careful. And then again, you might just really get intuitive with the arm movement. Maybe you come across the body. Maybe you make some circles. You can keep moving that ball around if it doesn't seem like it's in the right place. Go ahead and move it. Again, you might clasp your hands behind your head, lift your head off the ground, and start to twist side to side, and the ball will start to travel across the fibers of your trapezius. Again, all of this could be done at the wall if you needed a little less intensity. If it's too intense, remember to move it up, down, left, right, somewhere that's going to allow you to still take a deep breath. So whenever you feel like you're ready, transition to the other side. And again, left side, upper trapezius. That's where it's going to go. The side will likely feel different. Maybe this side you use a block. Maybe this side you don't. So some snow angels on this second side. Arm goes across the body. Maybe some circles.
again, you might clasp your hands behind your head and start to turn the upper body a little bit side to side. And we'll be here for about 5 more breaths. Whenever you feel like you're ready, you can start to make your way off. And then go ahead and sit up for a moment. So hopefully most of you have a strap. If you don't, I'll show you another version of this. But if you have a strap, for me I fold it in half. For some of you, you might need to leave it long. So if you have a strap or a towel or something, we'll be using that. And you're going to just slowly start to move the arms back and forth. Now, I'm really limber in my shoulders. So you might go, that's as far as I get to go, and that's fine. If you don't have a strap, you can interlace your fingers and do something similar just by going back and forth like this. Maybe some with the palms one way and some with the palms the other way. So it's very slow. You might even pause when you get a little bit behind yourself. Take a stretch across the chest. And then bring it back. So I think most of us have straps. So go ahead and let the left arm come towards the ceiling, and then the right arm comes out to the right and to the back. Both arms are pretty darn straight. And then you'll switch. So right arm up and left arm swings around and to the back. So I'm actually stretching the top arm, and then do it again the other side. So left arm comes up, right arm comes around and to the back. So top arm straight. So Jeff, this top arm will stay straight, Jeff. And then switch one more time. All right, and then we'll set that down. So continuing with sort of this release for the shoulders and the traps, you're going to take your right arm across the lower back, grab the wrist, and you'll pull it over to the side. So my right arm is pulling to the left. And then I'm going to drop my left ear to my left shoulder. And then from there, I just slightly tip my nose towards the ceiling. So I'm getting a stretch in this front scalene part of my neck. It shouldn't be pinching in the back. If it is, maybe start over and don't go as deep. So all of this. And then bring the shoulder back towards the ear, and then down towards my chest just a little bit. And then we'll slowly just do like a half circle. So rocking back and forth on this one side. You can see I'm going really slow. Oh, and release. And then we'll do the other side. So the left arm goes across the back. I take a hold of my wrist to encourage a little bit more of a stretch this direction. I drop my right ear towards my right shoulder. We'll just stay there for right now. And then I start to just slowly tip my head back. My nose goes a bit towards the ceiling, trying to get some release in the scalenes, which is this part right here. When this gets tight, it pulls your head forward, which can cause all kinds of issues in actually your upper back and neck, and even up into, this can lead to headaches. So getting your head back on your body is important. And then we'll do that slow transition forward, and then just that slow half, just on the half circle, just chin towards chest, ear to shoulder, very, very gently back. And release. Good. All right. So you're going to take your two balls out of their tote again. And you're going to be placing the two balls on your tailbone. So kind of where we started with the pillow or the block when we started. And you'll be laying down. So bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees come out wide. If that is absolutely horribly uncomfortable on your knees or your hips, just don't do it. We'll only be here for about 3 or 4 breaths before we transition. But if you can, take a few deep breaths here. And then bring the soles of your feet back to the earth if they're not already. And you'll start to move your hips side to side. So the balls will be going over your tailbone area. You're really sensitive there, just move them up or down. And then now transition onto the hip bones and the upper glute area as you go side to side. Now be aware that they might lock themselves right off of your body. And if they do, just lift back up and place them back on your body. And again, slowly back and forth. Now, if you lean one way and you feel like, oh yeah, I need to stay there for a breath or two, please do. And then you can always transition and keep moving. Slow, intentional movement. And then eventually, go ahead and remove the one from your left glute and keep the right one. Now move it under the fleshy part, so the bigger part of your glute now. So it was up higher, now it's more towards the middle of your fleshy big part of your glute. And we'll, again, side to side, rolling it out. If you feel like you need more, you can sit up. Feel like you need less, of course, there's always the option to go to the wall or just move it to a location that's not as intense. About 3 more breaths on this side. And then whenever you feel like you're ready, you'll switch to the other side. Left glute. And we've got about 10 breaths on this side. Just a handful more breaths. And whenever you feel like you're ready to transition towards your Shavasana, I'm just going to recommend that you go ahead and return to where we started with a ball or a block or the couch pillows underneath your tailbone. And again, an option if you're in a very stable position to go legs up the wall without a wall or with a wall. So if you had a wall, you could certainly use it. Once you've arrived in your comfortable, relaxed position, take a really, really big breath in. And an open mouth, exhale. Letting everything go. Very, very gently start to reawaken with some small movements in your body. Fingers, toes, ankles, wrists. Transition off of your ball or your blocks and carefully roll over onto one side for a moment. Gentle transition up to sit, taking your time, no rush. Once you've found your way up to sit, drawing your hands to your heart center and just taking a moment to sit in gratitude. So grateful for this body, for this life, for this practice. Drawing your thumbs to your third eye. The divine light in me honors and sees the divine light in all of you. Namaste. Have a wonderful day, guys. So good to see all of you as always. Bye. Have a great day.